Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's the author of the book, Find Me, Book 1. She believes in the kindness of strangers, no other than Miss H. Runa.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Rune, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure, I'm a Pacific Northwest United States author. I'm Gen X, middle aged, newly diagnosed ADHD woman with gobs and gobs of stories to tell.
Miss H. Rune, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. So, what motivates you, the protagonist, to embark on her literary adventure and find me?
What motivated me for this
Yes.
story? Um, the idea came to me just like a download, and I thought I have to see this through. I have to try and see if I can make this into something, and it's been a wild adventure. I've been writing this series for 25 years now.
25 years. Imagine. So, how did you utilize the entries to convey the protagonist's internal struggles and desires?
um I missed one word in there. The
Yes. How do you utilize journal entries to convey
Oh
the
yes.
protagonist's internal struggles and desires?
Yeah, those were a lot out of my life, things that were going on in my own life, and I tried to throughout the books, I tried to link them to other characters that might be feeling the same way or have a similar experience. So in that way, I tried to tie a couple things together because there's three different narratives going throughout my books.
Okay, so in what ways does the protagonist's relationship with their husband influence her decision to seek an extraordinary life?
I think she had kind of realized when she turned age 30 that she'd made most of her life decisions based on fear or being afraid of, trying something different or just putting herself out there. And so when she decided that she didn't want to live the rest of her life, however long she was going to get, being afraid, she made this proclamation to live an extraordinary life and started making decisions after that to live that desire.
So, Ms. Rune, what significance do the five traveling books hold within the narrative and how they are served as a mechanism for the protagonist's self discovery?
um I think the number 5 just came out of nowhere. I wasn't attached to the number 5. It
Hmm.
just seemed to be a good number. And so each of the books has certain segments of the author's life that's going on, so it kind of takes place over a 30-year time period. So it was a way to break it up. The kind of one of the bigger themes of the story is that how connected we all are in humanity, how we're much more similar, even with our different experiences, we're more similar, at least in our hopes and dreams that I think everybody is given a dream. And so that's kind of a thread that goes throughout the books is trying to quantify what your dream is and step into the next step in achieving your dream.
Interesting, Ms. Rune. Definitely interesting. How does the theme of infidelity manifest in the protagonist's interaction with a man from her past? And what does this reveal about her character?
I think I think people stray in their marriage when something is not working. And, where it can be extremely damaging, it can also be something that is understandable when you feel like nothing can ever change, and you're stuck. I think sometimes that was just a lesson that needed to be learned, that that is probably not the best way to leave a relationship, I think.
Definitely. So, can you analyze the role of the strangers who encounter traveling book and how their stories intertwine with the protagonist's journey?
Yeah, so the strangers were really picked randomly, and in the introduction of the books, that the traveling books, there's a request from the author asking that the books be passed along until one would land in the hands of someone she wrote about inside the books, and those clues would be able to help one of the readers to bring the book back to her someday. So it's the idea of this circle, completed, that there's a quest of the books to travel back to the author. Will they make it? Will the strangers cooperate? Um, yeah, it's kind of I mean, it's called She Believed in the Kindness of Strangers because she believed that people would, help her with her dream.
So, Miss Rune, how does the protagonist's sense of adventure conflict with her domestic responsibilities? And what does this tension reveal about her character?
She's a stay-at-home mom and a wife and just really settled in her life, and she doesn't feel like she can, travel very much. She can't, make any big changes or, run off to a different country. So she just starts doing little things out of the ordinary for her, and builds up from there. She starts to build confidence. She starts to build, this belief that there is more to life than, her current position. Um, yeah, and that she kind of tries to keep that thread going throughout the rest of the series too.
How does the structure of the novel, with its blend of a memoir and fiction, affect the reader's engagement with the story?
I've had a couple of people that it takes them a little longer to get into the story because of the different formatting. There's three different typesets, and I did that on purpose. So for the first book, whenever it's the traveling book stuff, section, I have a one because it's the first book. And then that typeset is just regular, font. And then for the traveling books filled with her memories, those are written in bold text. And then for her journal entries, those are written in italics. So I have a cheat code in the front. I try to make it easier because there are the three strands going on throughout the book. So hopefully people will stop at the cheat code and get that, understanding, and then kind of come into the book.
Hopefully, Ms. Rune, what role does the motive of kindness play in the interactions between characters, and how does it drive the narrative forward?
Um, I think every character that comes into finding the book, has a little bit of good in them that they would want to help a stranger, or, um, that they have maybe a dream in their own hearts that they've kind of set aside so they can relate, that it's not that big of a deal for them to, pass this book on to somebody or leave it on a bus, or, it's not going to take too much work for them, and it might actually help this woman have a dream come true.
So, Ms. Rune, how does the protagonist's journey reflect common struggles faced by individuals seeking purpose beyond traditional roles?
I think I believe it's really relatable to women my age, myself. I In my earlier years, all I dreamed of was being the mom, being the wife, and then I get there and suddenly it's like, well, the kids are getting older and they're going to leave, and then what's going to be left? What am I even about? And so I think it's relatable in that way, that story, the idea that kind of inside, maybe we have something that's more to us than the job that we go to every day.
In what ways do the secondary characters' experiences with the traveling books prompt them to reflect on their own lives?
I feel like each of the characters does take in the idea that the appearance of the book is really them actually running into a book that there's only 5 in the entire world is pretty astronomical, the odds of them finding this book. So then they're in this kind of private club, that they feel chosen or they feel important, and suddenly they're looking at their lives and going, well, maybe I can do this, or maybe I can change just this little thing, and suddenly, there's more of an expansion in their own lives.
Certainly. So, how did you depict the protagonist's internal conflict between desire for personal fulfillment and commitment to her family?
um I think she's just really honest about it, that she knows how important the role of being a mother is, and um that we're more spherical in our um attributes. We're not just a straight line of who a person is. So there's a lot of space. There's a lot more to everyone than you kind of just look at and see them.
Very well said, Ms. Rune. Very well said. So, what will be your advice for those people out there who want to write their novels?
Do it. just just start. I think one of the things that made it just a little bit easier was the idea that if you just write 1 page a day, after a year you have a book. It's just sitting down to do it. I would say also, I spent a lot of my years listening to other people tell me it can't be done. You'll never get published, all the naysayers in your life. Try and set them aside if writing is something that you feel drawn to do, because it's really pretty great, once you get there. I highly recommend it. It's not easy, but it's manageable if you kind of break it into chunks.
Yes, people, and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, write, and share to the world. This will be your legacy. So, Miss Rune, what literary or devices did you employ to convey the theme of self discovery throughout the series?
Um, I think really just the journal entries, of the moments and the feelings at the moment, um, are kind of helpful in this journey for the author. You kind of really see where she's at different places at different times.
So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Well, from here out, I hope to be an author and just really get out all of the stories that I have. I have a folder of story ideas in my office that I've had with me, for the last 20 years. So I have two books now out in the series, and then the third book's coming out pretty soon. Book 4 and 5 are going to be coming out in the next 2 years, and then I have another bunch of ideas that I need to get out of me. I need to get these out of me because I've been carrying them around for a long time. So I'm just going to be a writer now.
Good luck for that, Ms. Rune. So, in what ways does the series address the concept of connection between strangers through the shared stories?
I think what I've tried to do in these books is have a really good amount of diverse characters. So anybody who picks up the book, I'm hoping that they'll find somebody in the book that they can relate to, at least within the five. So I've tried really hard to add people from different cultures, from different, financial backgrounds, different parts of the world. And that's kind of my goal, as we're just including everybody, because I want this to be a global social experiment, that it's possible. Things are really possible if we work together.
Certainly. So, what impact do the traveling books have on the lives of those who encounter them, and how does these reflect the novel's themes?
Yeah, well, one of the characters, Sarah, she's living in the desert, and her husband is always away on business, and there's no love left in their marriage, and she's just feels like she's wasting away in this house by herself. And the book comes to her, is handed to her by another friend, and the friend knows that Sarah's just stuck in a rut, and she gets this book and this idea to expand her life suddenly, and she decides to leave her husband and go on this adventure. And she takes control of her circumstances and moves beyond them. And it's, yeah, people are either moved by the book coming into their lives, or some of them are not. And and that's, you know totally valid too. So
So, Ms. Rune, to wrap up our discussion for today, how does the series challenge traditional narratives about women's roles and the pursuit of personal fulfillment?
I think it's just another part of the story for women looking to, find themselves. I think we're all, every single person doesn't have to be a woman, can be anybody. We're all searching for the answers, what is my purpose? And yeah, I think this story just tells it in kind of a fun, mysterious kind of way. And at least that's what I hope, that people get a kick out of it and enjoy reading something that's much different maybe than anything they've read before.
Certainly. So, Miss RR, no, HH Rune, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world, and we are looking forward for more novels to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yes, so my book series is out now. It's each one is called Find Me, and then they're book one, book two, book three. Each one has a theme, and they're available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. They're a wild ride, and come along on the journey with me.
Yes, people, let's support Miss H Run, because if you support her, more novels to come. So, Miss Run, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Miss Rune, you are most welcome to come back. If you want to talk about more your books, just go to my booking calendar and let's talk about all your books.
Okay, thanks so much.
You are most welcome because this podcast is created